In this week's episode, I'm joined by co-founder of Batch, Sam Matanle. Batch was founded in 2021 with a mission to raise the standard of sustainability in the fashion industry by reducing waste and overproduction. Their pieces are made to order and they only manufacture what is necessary. They have an online shop and a physical presence in Covent Garden. In the episode, Sam shares the story behind Batch and how it's redefining the suit through a made-to-order slow fashion model. We explore how Batch engages with consumers on its mission-driven approach and what's next for the future of ethical fashion. So, Sam, take us back to the beginning. Where did the idea for Batch first come from?
Good question. It was actually from quite a simple idea. I wanted a casual suit and I couldn't find any good ones. I'd noticed that the traditional suit was dying out, become overly formal for lots of occasions. The way we dressed to work had changed quite significantly. The way that we dressed out and about had changed quite a lot as well. It was just post-COVID and we'd gone from being locked up inside in tracksuits all day long to being released back out into pubs, bars and clubs again. And so you had these two opposing forces. One workplace and weddings becoming more casual, but social life was getting a little bit more formal as people wanted to look the part and all these social occasions. So I saw a really interesting opportunity to sit in between those two things and create something that you can dress up to look smart. If you put on smart shoes and shirt and a tie, it's very formal and wedding appropriate or boardroom appropriate, however you want to look at it. But equally, you could stick on trainers and a t-shirt and you're good for the pub or your mum's birthday. So it could carry you from day to night or vice versa. And yeah, that was the initial starting point. And then having not come from a fashion background, neither myself or my co-founder, we started looking into the fashion industry. And it's one of those things that we'll hear and know that fast fashion's bad, but it's not until you get a chance to really drill into it that you uncover how bad it's got. And the stat that always shocked me the most is 6 in 10 items of clothing that are made end up in landfill within a year. Wow. Which is bonkers when you really, really process that. So we wanted to work out, firstly, what's the cause of all of that waste? And secondly, how can we do something about it? And this was also coming from the lens of two founders that wouldn't consider ourselves particularly conscious shoppers. So firstly, all that waste was being driven by overproduction, brands making way too much stuff, releasing too many styles. H&M released 15,000 styles in 2023. Wow. It's just a crazy amount of stuff. Yeah. And so we decided that our answer to all of those problems was to make everything to order. Right. Idea being, if you only make exactly what you need, it cuts out all of the wastage, all of the overproduction. But equally, it means that we run a much leaner business model. So we're not having to account for holding stock or big end of season sales to clear stuff that's not sold, warehousing, returns, etc. So we can pass that cost saving on to the consumer and in essence deliver a much higher quality for a lot less, which is really what we're looking for when we're shopping, is good quality items at a good price. Yeah. We don't really care about sustainability, unfortunately, and that the stats are there to prove that when it comes to actually making a purchase decision. So that's a bit of a long-winded answer to where it came from, but it's important to have the context. Yeah, of course. So first of all, do you find that people often enjoy the versatility of your suits as well, that they could wear, they can wear them together, but they could also split them up and you've got a well-fitting jacket, a well-fitting pair of trousers separately as well? 100%. It all comes back to solving the same problem, really, which is how do we get people to buy less but buy better? And so having core items in your wardrobe that you can style in lots of different ways. Traditional suits in many ways don't let you express yourself very much. They're a bit more of a uniform. Yeah. Whereas what we create, you can wear in loads of different ways, to your point. Yeah. Wear the jacket over jeans or the trousers independently. So by having these two items in your wardrobe, you've got a smart outfit, a casual outfit, a jacket, trousers, and infinite ways to go and wear those. And in reality, people realise that you don't need that much stuff in your wardrobe. It's frustrating having to keep buying loads of new stuff and find the right fit and make sure it's comfortable and you've got the right colours, etc. So having some core items and having a capsule wardrobe that you can dress and style in lots of different ways, I think is massively appealing and part of what's allowed us to do so well so far, but also keeps people coming back for more. Yeah, for sure. And with you making to order, are you actually making to measure as well? You might be able to fit it to people, or is it more a question of they try on a prototype, or not a prototype, like a sample, and if they like it, then you're manufacturing, or is it even more bespoke than that? It's a good question, and it's quite an interesting conundrum that we have internally, because generally when people hear made to order, they think it's made to measure, and in reality it's not. It's off the shelf sizing. So that's slowed us down a little bit online, as people think, I can't just buy my size because I don't know if it's going to fit.
Yeah.
We do offer additional alterations if they're needed in store. Tends to generally be sleeve length or leg length. We spent a long time on getting the fit right, and have had the same style for the last 3 years, which we've now perfected. So it generally fits everyone perfectly. But if you want to, you can go in and have those additional alterations made. We've designed it in a way that makes that easy.
Right.
Most sort of dry cleaners offer little alterations. It would be very easy to do that yourself. But yeah, that's been a difficulty in the business so far, convincing people that actually, you can just pick your normal size and buy it online. You don't have to come and see us in store. Yeah. But if you want the full experience, then you get that when you come and visit us.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess what really strikes me is when you're talking about this, you're not from a fashion background. I have worked in the past, worked in big clothing retailers, including tailoring, and I know just what a technical, it's so hugely technical. I mean, tailoring is almost like the most technical of all clothing, right? So how did you figure it out? So you and your co-founder, you identified a gap in the market, but we're not talking about something simple to produce here. We're talking about, a complex item. So what was your next step after that, after you'd identified that gap?
It was kind of twofold. One, firstly, we've taken a lot of the complexity out of it, and the way that they're designed, and the way that they fit, and the way that they're not made to measure, so it's not altered to people's specific sizes. It's quite an androgynous fit that fits most people well. Yeah. So that's one side of it. It's not lined. There's just lots of simplicity that we've brought into it, because in many ways it gets overcomplicated. Right. And that's how you end up spending fortunes on suit when maybe you didn't really need to. Yeah. And the other side is, both myself and Julian, my co-founder, had come from a startup background. So we knew loads about businesses going from 0 to 1. Right. How do you do a cash flow? When do you register for VAT? The sort of basic core skills. Yeah. Which meant that we didn't really have to overthink that and waste too much brain capacity on trying to figure that out. Yeah. And freed up that space to go and learn and bring in. There's a huge wealth of talent in the fashion industry of people that have been to fashion school but maybe don't quite have the business skills to go and start their own thing. There's not that much supply of jobs for them, so there's this big pool to go after, and we've been lucky in many ways to find the right people in the journey to help us. We've got our fairy godfather and our pattern cutter and loads of people that have helped guide us, and I think not coming from a fashion background has been in many ways our superpower, because there's no ego behind it. It's not like we're disagreeing with people that know way more than we do, or another example, there's a guy in our factory that we everything's handmade in London, and there's a guy there that's the head pattern cutter and does a lot of the cutting at the factory. He's been doing it for 40 years, has seen what's good, has seen what's bad, has loads of recommendations. We're very open to saying, look, cool, if you think you can do it better, do it, and then we'll go from there. Whereas having had conversations with him, you've got lots of other clients you work with who take that as a bit of an offence, and don't do it, and he's like, okay, if you don't want to listen to me, fine. And eventually they come back with their tail between their legs, and so it's been really helpful to go into it not knowing, to just be an open book for help. For sure. Top tip for the fashion industry: always listen to the pattern cutter, because those people are magicians. They know what they're doing. I'm doing it for long enough. So tell us a little bit more then about how it works. You mentioned that you have a model where you are only manufacturing to order. And so you've got sort of a 3 to 4 week lead time. Is that correct? A bit longer than that, actually. It's 4 to 8 weeks. So how the model really works, if you're a customer, is you either purchase online or come to the shop. Yeah. And we call it a fit and style, but it's really, we'll just take you through a few different samples, help you pick the right colour for, I don't know, your complexion or your hair colour, find the right size, tell you what to wear it with, a bit of styling advice, etc. But you either do that online or in store. We collect those orders over the course of a month. And then at the end of the month, we place the order with our manufacturer. They take about 4 weeks to make it. So hence the 4 to 8 weeks. If you buy at the start of the month, it'll be 8 weeks. If you buy at the end of the month, it'll be 4 weeks. Right. So that's sort of the general lead time. And how do you find in the days of, next day delivery and instant gratification, how have you found it with customers managing their expectations? Yeah, of course it's a challenge. I think we've got inherently used to buy it now, get it the same day. But equally, I think a lot of consumers, particularly if we're talking about fashion, have seen the dark side of that as well, where you know, you one wash and it's the wrong colour, or threads are coming loose, and over the course of a year you end up spending the same amount of money as you would have spent on a couple of core pieces that you'll keep for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of awareness from consumers just from having experienced it that that's not great, and actually maybe there's a better way of doing this. And really for us it's landing the value proposition that by buying and waiting you're getting a much higher quality for less. So we're able to deliver Savile Row quality but at half the price.
Right.
And so you're waiting to save hundreds of pounds. The nice offcut of that is you're also having a positive impact on the planet, but it's a price quality equation. And what we've discovered is there's a nice sense of not having that instant gratification. The delayed gratification is quite nice. It's almost a boy or girl math thing where you buy something now and by the time it arrives it feels like it's free because you spent the money 4 to 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So there's a nice thing in that, and then although we can bring the lead time down as we grow, we'll probably never bring it below 2 to 4 weeks, because that, you know, you get that sense of quality. It does take time to do things well. You want to know that it's been handled, it's not been rushed, and that you're getting, you know, the what you've paid for essentially. So there's always the odd, and blokes are particularly bad at this. I am one, so I feel comfortable saying it. In shit, I've got a wedding this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm too late. Why? Like, you know, we're not very good at being proactive all the time, I would say.
Right.
So we've got a service that helps deal with that, where if you bought a suit, we can lend you one for that event. So it's not quite a rental service, but it's a loan.
Oh, I love
facility.
that idea. So, like the last minute, as long as they've bought one from you, so they're going to get their suit eventually, but you can just borrow one to kind of tide the gap.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Big thanks to EDF Small Business Team for sponsoring this podcast. Powering the High Street, a bold new initiative from Enterprise Nation and EDF, has been designed to breathe life into the UK's high streets by supporting the next generation of retail entrepreneurs. Whether you're a seasoned shopkeeper or a digital business ready to make the leap to bricks and mortar, Powering the High Street is your gateway to making a meaningful retail impact. Explore the resources and get involved by visiting the hub now. Find more details at enterprisenation.com/powering the high street. And I suppose as well for customers, it's that feeling of knowing that something's being manufactured for you. That's a really nice feeling as well.
Definitely, and in that 4 to 8 week lead time, we'll show you who's making it, how it's made. We'll give you the regular updates from the factory. Really, because when we were going through the journey of learning about this, it shocked us how many different sets of hands a jacket passes through until it gets from nothing, a roll of fabric, to a finished product. And it's about 30 to 35, depending on the item.
Wow.
So there's a lot of it, most of it's still manual.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe naively, I thought like, just goes down a factory line and there's lots of machine elements to it, and it's not. There's loads of hands, there's lots of different specialist skills that people have honed, and when you get an understanding of that, it gives you the ability to value something a lot more highly when you know what's gone into it and how much effort and how much time, and you get a real perception of value which you don't get without seeing that.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you about the communication with the customer, because I think that is so critical when you're asking people to wait. I think people are more used to the idea of pre-orders, and even if you think about things like crowdfunding and where people will pledge money but then you don't see the reward necessarily for a while. So I think as customers we are getting more accustomed to it, but it is that communication piece all the way through. And yeah, how special to find out. I mean, 30 to 35 people, that is quite eye-opening. So to get that update of this is where it's at, and I mean, if
you think about it, it's only been about 40 years since fast fashion really kicked in. So it's not like centuries worth of undoing that we're trying to achieve here. I think we're all used to our parents or grandparents buying way less stuff that was really high quality. A lot of it that they still have, unless they've lost it, but not because it's fallen apart, got holes in. So I think that there is that sense of buy fewer items and buy less, buy better. So I don't think it's going to take that much push to get people back into that mindset. As long as it's an investment piece, as long as it's worth waiting for to save the cash. White t-shirt doesn't really work on a made-to-order model. One, because they don't last long enough. Two, because it's very hard to show that value perception. And usually that's something that we want quite instantly. But there's lots of other business categories that we're very used to buying stuff and waiting for, whether that's watches or furniture is another good example. A lot of it's made to order. Cars, more of the sort of, again, luxury investment pieces.
Yeah.
It is there, it does work, and I think you'll see more and more and more of it popping up in the fashion space, whether that's just simply pre-order, it's kind of another way of saying made to order,
Yeah.
but pre-order, made to order, because it has to go that way, because we're just, it's very hard to run a fashion business in the current market and the traditional model.
Yeah, for sure. And which leads me to my next question, which is about who is the customer? Who's your typical Batch customer? And how do you get them on board then with their mission and values? Obviously, taking them along for the journey is part of it, but are there other ways that you engage them with what you're trying to do?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in reality, our customer ranges from 16-year-old guys to 80-year-old men. It's quite broad. It's quite a timeless piece, deliberately. But our target market's about 30 to 50 at the moment, living, working in London. It's helpful if they can see the use case for work. A lot of people purchase for their weddings, but then really the mindset with it is, you know, rather than a wedding dress or a wedding suit that you wear once and then it sits in the wardrobe picking up dust, it's something that you can still look and feel great in, but then wear for the next 10, 20 years, depending on how well you look after it. And yeah, in terms of how much do they care about the value is a really good learning for us. When we first started, we were quite heavy on pushing the sustainability narrative, and we just had this shock moment of discovering it. What we discovered is, unfortunately, people don't care. It's a big part of the reason we're not winning the battle with sustainability, if we're being truly honest with ourselves, because there's lots of people that are trying to hammer the stats, and it's almost like unintentionally guilt-tripping people into like, look how bad it is, you need to do something about it. It's very easy to just put your head in the sand and be like, that's not my problem. Like, we all need to do something, so unless we all do it, nothing's going to happen. But in a sense, that's the same solution. If you make everyone 10% better, that has a massive impact than being like, you need to, you know, only buy second hand, because it's not realistic. We are consumers. We've got a consumption culture. We're not going to turn that tap off anytime soon. So again, moving away from that sustainability message as a forefront, putting that as a secondary was a big learning into how much do people care? What are they really buying it for?
So what's the kind of lead message then? Well,
It's twofold. One, we solve a problem for men, which is solving the what to wear when you want to look good dilemma. Yeah. Which we all go through. You put on 3 or 4 different outfits before you decide on the one you want, and you probably don't even really like it. You just can't be bothered to keep changing. And I think there's so many occasions that we solve that problem for, from mum's birthday to board meeting to wedding or whatever it might be. It's like sort of our belief that it's gone from every man needing a traditional suit in their wardrobe to every man needing a casual suit in their wardrobe. And the secondary message being that, and you know, explaining why you should buy and wear it is the value proposition of better quality for less. So those are the 2 key things we focus on. And then sort of in answer to your previous question, the way we reach more and more people and increase our audience, we do a lot of work with celebrities and influencers. And that was an interesting way that came about. One, it's the right product at the right time. Solve the same problem for Ashley Walters and Stephen Bartlett and Simon Pegg that we do for, you know, your Joe Blogs, your everyday person. Yeah. And then having a physical store to be able to, you know, invite someone down for a suit fitting if they like what they're looking at and someone's offering you a free suit. It's, you know, it's quite hard to say no to.
And so that was the celebrities / influencers. That was a strategy right from the get-go, or was that something that you kind of stumbled across as something that worked really well, or from the get-go were you like, right, the way we're going to do this is we're going to engage key people? I think when you're starting out, you're testing and learning in lots of different things, so it wasn't as much of a like, this is the way we make this business work. But it was like, okay, let's bring a few people into this brand. And it started quite small, actually, just with, to begin with, we aimed at people that aren't in fashion. I think really to give a bit more on our target market, we split it in your sort of 5-10% of people at the top who really know their fashion, they know how to dress, they're constantly following trends, etc. Yeah. Your bottom 50% that are dressing for function don't really care. They just need to like live and breathe and not be naked walking around. And then everyone in between who want to look good but they don't really know how, or they need a little bit of help. They need someone to show them, need someone to help them style it, etc. So that's our key market, and a lot of those people aren't following fashion influencers, but they are following the chefs and the comedians and the musicians. So that was our initial sort of target, and then it's kind of just grown from there, and each stage has unlocked the next stage, and
the next thing you know, you're dressing out on deck, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, and you touched on the store there, so let's talk about the store. So, you pride yourself on having a unique and enjoyable experience. Can you tell us a little bit about your bricks and mortar store, how that came about, and what people can expect when they go there?
Yeah, for sure. We unusually moved into retail about 6 months into starting, which if we'd had any fashion experience, probably wouldn't have done. And if we'd got any advice, it'd have been like, what are you thinking? That's a terrible idea. But in our heads, that made sense. First collection we launched, we did a little launch party for friends and family and saw a massive uplift in sales from that. It was clear to us that this was something that people wanted to touch, feel, try, especially if you're buying and waiting.
Yeah.
Even just from down to the point, it's nice to know that you've got somewhere to go and knock down the door if your suit didn't arrive. So it adds that level of trust and validation. And so, we did that in pop-ups around Shoreditch and then decided it was time to double down on it. A really high conversion rate, about 70% of people that try on a suit go on to buy it.
Wow.
Whereas our online conversion rate was way less. So there's a point in time where like, how do we fix the online? I was like, well, hang on a minute. In-store's working really well. Let's focus on that. So we've now got a flagship store in Covent Garden, really big space. I think there was a lot of chat for a while, particularly after COVID, around the high street being dead. Our opinion was that actually it was just lots of dead shops filling the high street. So we came to the conclusion that if you're going to encourage people to come down to the shop and forego the efficiency or the convenience of shopping online, that in-store experience needs to be really strong. And so we've developed the shop as a bit more of a third space, a place to come and hang out, sort of concept men's store. Upstairs there's a bar, cafe, the collection. Downstairs we've got a private fitting room with a big sort of fitting platform with mirrors so you can see yourself from all angles. And kind of wanted it to feel a bit more like a home than a shop. So upstairs conceptually is kind of like your kitchen, dining room. Downstairs is more like your living room, bedroom. So from a consumer experience perspective, you get to follow through the journey of being at home. You feel a bit more comfortable to try something on, more relaxed. You booked in for a fitting, we'll get you a beer or a coffee and then just take you through it and really help you and explain it. And again, if you think about that 40% that we're trying to target, that want a bit of help, that need a bit of style advice, that need a bit of reassurance, and we're not shy to tell someone that doesn't suit them.
Yes.
And that's how you build trust with a consumer. We're very honest. If it doesn't work, I'd rather not have someone walking around wearing our brand that doesn't look good in it. And then maybe that's a bit of a twisted thing to say, but really it builds trust because it might be, like, this doesn't work, but keep following us because we're going to release a product soon that will work for you. That's a wider leg trouser or a crop jacket or a shirt. So I think if you're able to build that trust and people look up to you as an expert, they're much more willing to buy into what you're doing. Yeah,
for sure. It's that, like you say, if you can really trust someone to know that they're going to tell you the truth, then that's a huge bonus because then it comes down to that, like you say, that trust, that authority, that you know that you're not just going to push the sale no matter what, and that just opens doors and builds loyalty, doesn't it?
Nobody likes being sold to by a salesman. Really.
No.
As soon as you can feel that someone's selling to you, it's a bit of a turn off from that purchase, but you want to be sold to by a friend, someone that's helping you, someone that's advising you rather than feels like they're trying to force a sale.
Yeah, for sure. I always love the phrase sales is service, is when someone's there and they're trying to help you and trying to understand what you want. And like you say, especially if it's for a really big high stakes occasion like a wedding or a significant birthday or something like that, then feeling like you've got somebody on your side is huge.
Yeah, I think with the way we train our staff and the way that we sort of train our sales process is to really try and build a friendship first before you go into any of the selling product. And in reality, by doing that, you can learn where someone's from, what job they do, how long if they're a tourist or if they're not a tourist, and that really guides the next step of that conversation. Even from, are you selling them one suit, you're going to try and sell them 2 suits and a shirt because you can see the use case for them, or they might be a bit more affluent and have the ability to do that, and so it can really guide and help that sales process whilst building a relationship at the same time.
So has that been a key part of then creating that experience, is working out exactly what you want people to go through and then bringing the team along on the journey?
Definitely. definitely. And because our suits are so variable, because they're versatile and you can wear them in lots of different ways, there's different materials that work better for different use cases, and understanding that helps you give a better service. Just learning those little things. We're ultimately trying to build a community of people that have bought into what we do, that are customers for life, that have had an excellent service. You know, even for people that do want to come in and see us and shop, you only need to do that once, really. And then we've got all of your sizes on file. We then release, we've got overcoats coming this winter. When we release an overcoat, it'll be the same size as your jacket.
Yeah.
You don't need to come and try it on again. So you just build this sort of longer term relationship. There's loads of events at the shop as well. That's a big part of the design. How can we make it modular to give people a reason to come back and stay engaged, and anything from salsa nights to tattoo flash days to book clubs, live podcasts, panel talks. There's a wide number of things because there's different customers that are going to be interested in different bits.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what's so important about physical retail, is that it can become that community hub, that opportunity to connect with people, like you say, that third space. And I think also going back to the service that you're offering, it's just not that easy to find these days. I mean, there are fewer and fewer in big chains. There are fewer and fewer opportunities for someone to really work with you to pick things or to help you style. So I think I'm sure it's had an amazing reaction. So you opened in Covent Garden just before Christmas last year, is that right?
Yeah, around mid-November, and it's been really great so far. It's the right sort of consumer. It's a happier customer than the one in Shoreditch. Usually it's a different sort of shopping area. You can't even Shoreditch to wear the nice clothes you bought in Covent Garden, Soho, out to dinner or drinks or the pub or whatever. So yeah, I've really enjoyed the space there, and being able to open a shop where there's different ways of looking at how do you make it profitable, and like using every inch of space for retail so you can have as many products on show as possible. Isn't always the best solution to the problem. And kind of the events thing was driven by a frustration in, you know, it's not cheap to have a shop. If you shut at 7 and then you don't do anything, you've got this amazing bit of real estate that sits there not making you any money or adding any value at all. So yeah, just looking how we can sweat it for the most has led to this interesting solution.
So what's next? Looking ahead, what's the next step in the Batch journey?
Yeah, good question. I think it's very easy to try and run before you can walk and get excited about opening more shops and spreading around the country and going overseas and new markets. But in reality, we think there's barely anyone in London really knows who we are, really, let alone the UK, let alone further afield yet, or has got to the point of considering a purchase. So there's lots more work to be done domestically first and from our current shop. And we've got some exciting new products on the way. So slowly increasing our product range. I don't want to be a brand that has infinite styles that's trying to please everyone. But nice to have a few more bits that stuff that complements what we already sell.
And do you have some real key returning customers as well that's nice to offer them something new? Exactly,
and it's a great way to get them buying back in. You know, there's only so many casual suits you're going to buy in the space of a year or 2 years. Ironically, so for some people that's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's nice to give them a reason to stay connected to the brand. And again, if you've already got 2 or 3 suits, it's nice to have a load of other bits that you can style it with, whether that's an overcoat or a nice jumper, or there's some cool stuff coming.
And finally then, if you could give one piece of advice to an aspiring entrepreneur who's thinking about their own journey, particularly in the sustainable fashion industry, what advice would you give?
Kind of 2 bits of advice, which is cheating, but first one is, and I say this to anyone that ever approaches me about starting a business, I've been in startups for a long time, is to get a co-founder. And that's very much easier said than done. It's got to be the right person, but really having someone to share the workload with. You can't be 100% all the time, but you could probably average out 100% over 2 of you. But equally someone to really to share the highs with. Sharing the lows is a bit easier. It's a bit easier for mum or girlfriend to understand that. It's a bit harder for them to understand the highs when you're not in it, but just someone to cheers with and have a beer with and be like, hang on a minute, pause, right, let's go celebrate that win. And the second one is just to be relentless.
And what does that mean to you?
There's never any stone unturned. There's always more you can do. Not to be too narrow-minded, to to spread yourself into lots of different areas without spreading yourself too thin. Just keep grinding. And in my opinion, if you really oversimplify a business, there's two key factors to making something successful. And one is to survive for long enough, and you need to be relentless to do that. Like all of these overnight successes you see have taken 5-10 years to happen. Occasionally it happens in 2 or 3, and that's amazing, but more often than not it doesn't. And the other one is to do enough cool stuff. And again, those two things, like, there's a lot that goes into that. But if you can find the balance of the two, I think that's generally what the businesses that I look up to the most have done.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your insights. It's been great to talk to you. Do you want to tell us where people can find out more about your business? Yeah,
absolutely. So visit us in Covent Garden. We're just off 7 Dials. Got a website, it's batchlondon.com or batchldn.com, batchldn on Instagram. So yeah, that's us.
Go check it out.
Go check it out. Or hit me up on LinkedIn. I love a bit of LinkedIn.
You've been watching the Small Business Retail Sessions podcast, brought to you by Enterprise Nations Powering the High Street Hub in collaboration with EDF Small Business. To learn more about the work EDF are doing to energise small businesses and how they can help you on your journey, head to enterprisenation.com/powering the high street. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.